Hi, my name is Clarendon. I am a second grade teacher in the San Ramon Valley Unified School District, and I have had the wonderful opportunity to have be a part of this webinar, but also engage in multiple defined learning lessons over the last couple of years. So our first one that we did last year, and this is our introduction to defined learning, was creating a children's museum. And when I first described this to my colleagues and family members, they thought, aren't second graders too young to be able to design a children's museum? And the really cool part about defined learning is that all students' ideas are welcomed, and they really get to channel their inner, creators and innovators, and take pride and direction in their projects that they're going to be doing. So, let's see. All right, so the first one that we did was the Children's Museum, where we thought about what aspects of a museum that we like. So things that they shared with me were that sometimes when they go to a museum, they see videos, that it's interactive. Well, sometimes they see paintings or sculptures, and they're gaining information from the museums. There are areas that you can touch things, you get to learn about things. And sometimes there's, parts of museums that are for looking only. But after we had this discussion about the qualities that they enjoyed from their own museums based on their own experiences, they also had to consider different types of people who would be attending our own museum. And eventually, and you'll see later, we actually got to have like a children's museum opening where there was a red ribbon cutting, and our principal came and helped, kick it off and everything. But the students really had to engage in this critical thinking process by thinking about what aspects needed to be included in their, museum displays, while also hitting the necessities of the learning targets that we achieved together. As far as our problem solving, they planned and sketched and determined what supplies they needed for their project. They were given a budget of $50 that they got to use for their project. They created an Amazon list and had to figure out what materials they needed, but then also communicated with me to determine, okay, do we really need this? How much is this going to cost compared to our budget of only $50? And what materials would we also have to supplement at home? And it was really interesting because a lot of students started with Play-Doh and drawing things and making posters. And then they quickly realized that they had to pivot from what they started with to how they actually wanted their ending project to look like. So the students who started with paper, they thought, okay, well, I want to make this 3D, but how am I going to only use paper to make it three-dimensional? And a lot of the students actually ended up making sculptures, but it really pivoted from that initial brainstorm of what they decided with their group that they were going to make. I love this picture over here because every student is either talking with somebody or like focusing on their project. And as a teacher, it's so amazing to look up at your class and see that so many students are engaged in their learning and taking pride in what they're doing. They're so focused in, making sure every part of what each of their collaborators have included, making sure that what their ideas are, articulated in a clear enough way so that everybody can understand. And it was really, really amazing to see.